So I made up a mini interpretive dance. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to day 3 of my study skills playlist with Educationary. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos and feeling really inspired and motivated to get your work done. And today's video, I'm going to share with you some memorization hacks because I often get asked, how do you memorize and learn long lists of definitions and other information when you're studying for exams and tests? So I hope you guys find today's video helpful, and let's just get straight into some memory hacks. Okay, now when it comes time to learn anything, the most important thing you do is write down that information right away. So if you've got a lot of different definitions or terms you have to learn from, say, biology class or psychology, because personally when I studied those subjects, I had a lot of definitions I had to memorize for my exams. I found it really helpful to write it down straight away and then review the information regularly. But I don't just mean reviewing it passively, reading over something over and over again. It can be really helpful to rely on different kind of study techniques. And I think I've talked about the 4 kinds of learners a really long time ago on this channel, but I'm going to go through it in a little bit more detail today because these sort of study techniques make memorizing information so much more effective and also a lot more enjoyable as well. Now, it does depend on the sort of information you're trying to memorize, but utilizing different study techniques can be really helpful here. So first off, you've got your visual study methods, and that could include making mind maps, drawing, including diagrams, illustrations, anything that requires you to add color, vibrancy, get creative, and put pen to paper. They are some really effective study techniques, and I honestly find that I learn very well using visual methods. So you might like to try a couple of those and see how you go when it comes to memorizing information, because it is a very, very effective way to study. Now, you've also got your auditory study methods. So if you're trying to memorize information, you might like to read that definition out over and over again. You might like to talk to someone and get them to quiz you. So have them read out the definition and then have you say it back to them, or have them read out the first half of the definition and get you to say the second half. Anything that requires a conversation or for you to hear the information rather than actually reading it, that's a really good way to study as well. And again, it's just about figuring out what works best for you. But it honestly might be that all the study techniques are really effective for you, and it's just about adding some variation into your study sessions. So one day you might feel like drawing mind maps, and another you might feel like chatting it out with a friend. Next up, you've got the reading and writing method. Now, I don't really find this study method to be the most interactive and fun, although it doesn't mean that it's not effective. So you might find it really helpful to write out the information numerous times. I'm talking 10 times in a row, 20 times in a row, however many times you feel you need to write it out, or even just reading through your notes over and over again. So this is actually a really convenient kind of study method, especially if, say, you're on the bus on the way home from school, then you probably can't take out a big A3 sheet of cardboard and start drawing mind maps. And then the 4th kind of learning style or study technique is your kinesthetic learners, and this involves a lot of movement, which is a lot of fun. It's all about physical activity. Now, I remember one time I was trying to learn a speech for a presentation and I just could not remember the important points. I kept leaving out things here and there, and I was finding it really challenging, even though I would practice in the mirror over and over again. So I made up a mini interpretive dance and I really enjoyed it. So if you wanted to just take the key words in every sentence and try and act them out, then it can actually be a really effective way to study. And it doesn't mean that you need to actually demonstrate the interpretive dance come that time to do your presentation, but you can still see it in your mind playing over. So it's a really good way to add another connection to that information and retain it in your long-term memory really effectively. Now, I am a big fan of all of these study techniques. I don't really think that one of them necessarily works best for everyone. So it's really just about figuring out what works best for you and also taking into consideration the sort of information you're trying to learn as well. Now, you might find it's also really handy to employ a few of these different techniques. So one study session might be utilizing visual techniques, and then the next time you might want to use auditory techniques or physical activity or writing things down numerous times. It really just depends what you feel like and what's going to work well for you. But the one thing I will say is repetition is key. You really, really, really need to review the information regularly in order for it to actually consolidate into your long-term memory and not end up just sticking around in short term for a little while and then it just disappears and leaves your mind forever. Now, if you guys are feeling a little bit overwhelmed with all of the information you need to memorize, or you're just ready to memorize like a pro, then check out my definitions book from Educationary. It's a really handy little booklet for you to store all of your definitions and quotes to help you memorize. It's like making a little memorization dictionary just for you, and it's just a really handy little resource for you to slip into your bag and pull out at any time whenever you want to review your notes. Now, you're probably going to be learning different topics in class every week, so it's also got little chapter dividers, and they are little study tips. Ta-da! Similar to my exam summary book, guys. Now, you can use this book to write down all your definitions from class for, say, biology, psychology, chemistry, maths, but you can also use it as a little mini dictionary because it does double up as a little resource for you to write down any new words you need to be learning. Whether it's in English or you're learning a second language, you can actually write down the new word and then its corresponding translation underneath as well. So it really just depends on what kind of information you need to memorize. But usually in school, there's a lot of stuff we need to memorize and store in our long-term memory. So I do hope that this helps make memorizing a lot easier and less stressful. And you can check it out on my website, educationarybygess.com. And when you're over there, make sure to sign up to be one of my VIP study buddies. All you have to do is join my free newsletter and you get a $10 voucher to spend on your next purchase, which is pretty awesome. So do check that out and make sure to stick around for tomorrow's video. I'm going to be covering another very important study topic. Alright guys, I hope you found today's video helpful and I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah! Bye!